Hi, I'm Fran. I'm the technical sales rep for Murphy's. I'm going to talk a bit about cleaning chemicals and CIP. So as you all are aware, as brewers, brewers are cleaners that brew on the side. So it's very important that the brewery is always spotless and clean, and so a lot of brewers just tend to do a lot of cleaning compared to brewing. It's detrimental to the beer. So the best way to clean your brew house is to follow the cycle of cleaning. The first stage of that would be a pre-rinse. So straight after brewing, rinse with water. Doing this, you remove 95% soil. And also it prevents ingrained soils and making it more difficult to remove if it was dried on. The next part of the stage is to use a detergent. So the detergents that we would recommend is either a caustic or a chloride based caustic, which is our antiformin S. We have a sequestered caustic, which is called Sterilization, and these are our two most popular detergents. And it depends it's all down to the brewer and the brewer's preference of which one to use. If you're going to use the antiformin S, which is our chlorinated caustic, it's advisable to not go over 50 degrees because it will drive off the chlorine and it would be not as useful. If you're going to use Sterilization, you can go up to 70 degrees in the wash. The higher you go in temperature, the more effective the caustic is. So the purpose of the detergent is to absorb the soil and make it rinse off and be removed from the surface of the vessels, etc. Detergents penetrate the soil and then they break down and then they're released on rinse. So after detergent part of the cycle, then you have to rinse off. It's really important to make sure that there's no caustic or sodium hypochlorite left on the surfaces. So it's always good to use a pH strip to see if it's neutral. It's a good idea to invest in some pH paper. After that, we have to sterilise the surfaces. Now, sterilisation means changing the environment so that microbes can't live on there. This can be done by either heat, or any like chlorine-based products, or what we tend to recommend is peracetic acid. After the peracetic acid, you do not rinse because once it's sterilised, if you rinse and added water, then you're back to square one with sterilisation. So what peracetic acid will do is just evaporate off the surface and ready to go and start brewing again. And then the next stage is an inspection to make sure that all the surfaces are microbe-free. And the best way to do that is you can use a bioluminescence device, which will measure ATP. What ATP is, it's a measure of energy and it detects the presence of living organisms. Once the inspection has been done and you are confident that you have microbe-free vessels, then the brewing process can start all over again. And that is basically the cycle of cleaning. When choosing a detergent, it's really important to identify what it is that you're trying to remove. So you need to find out what the soil is. If the soil is tannin build-up, it will look like the stains you get inside a teapot. And the best way to remove tannin build-up is to either a lot of elbow grease or using antiformin S with a contact time of 15 minutes, and this should shift it. If it's a beer stone, we do recommend an acid-based cleaner, which is NIPAC B. Both scale build-ups can be prevented, so we always advise, get rid of the scale by using either NIPAC or antiformin S, depending on which scale it is, but try and be proactive by preventing the scale building up in the first place. For example, beer stone is from precipitated calcium oxalate, from oxalate, the crystal from malts. So it might be a good idea to look into your liquor treatments, making sure that the calcium is high enough to precipitate those oxalates out. Or the tannin, you might have to focus on, how long you're sparging for and the temperatures you're sparging at. One aspect of microbiology in the brew house is biofilms. So what biofilms are is when bacteria and fungi join together and form their own ecosystem. And it's done by them communicating to each other. And what happens is they form a extracellular polymeric surface. And this surface is like a shield over the ecosystem. And it's really hard to break down using caustic. So the best way to get rid of it is to use an enzyme-based cleaner. We have a product called Scrub-A-Duck, and what it does, it breaks down that EPS, the extra polymeric surface. If you don't remove these biofilms, the life cycle of a biofilm is that they eventually burst, and those bacteria release and harm the surfaces of your brewery. And so sometimes you have an unexpected infection in your brew house and you don't know where it's come from. The thing with biofilms are they are invisible. You can't see them. They're very hard to detect. Also, they're very resistant until they burst. And so it's a good idea that every now and then you use an enzyme-based cleaner to eradicate them and just make sure for peace of mind that they're not there. Biofilms are hard to detect and they look strange. But imagine, I'll give you some examples of the biofilms that you could relate to. So decay on your teeth, that's like a biofilm. The slimy surface on a rock around ponds, that is basically that's a biofilm forming on the rock. So looking back at the cycle of cleaning, we've discussed what detergents to use and also what sterilant to use. So we've discussed that you can use SteriCleanse #1 as a detergent or Antiformin S as a detergent, depending which ones you're more preferable to. But there are other things you can do as well in the brew house. Beer stone removal or passivating vessels, we suggest NIPAC-B. NIPAC-B stands for nitric acid and phosphoric acid for beer stone removal, so it's NIPAC-B. Contact time 15 minutes and used at 4%. It should shift beer stone. Another thing that we recommend is peracetic acid to be used in soak baths. So daily, create a soak bath. So you can drop all removable parts into this soak bath and all you need to do then is just lift out parts and they should evaporate straight away and then be sterile. A good practice as well is to every now and then scrub your floors and walls with Antiformin S at 4%. The recommended dosage rate for CIP for Antiformin S is 2%, but for floors and walls 4%, just a peace of mind that your brewery is spotless. Another product that we do have is a product called Foam M, which isn't a CIP cleaner and shouldn't really be used for cleaning processes, but it's ideal for external cleaning of vessels. And it's a foam, so it's really handy to get into those machines, bottling machines, etc. So you just spray the foam over devices and then you rinse off with water.